Good afternoon, everybody. Let's just quickly go over today's trading action, right? And talk about how the day went. Absolutely fantastic trading day for myself here. 647 on the DTR Wednesday free live stream. So everyone got to see it. Absolutely great day. Fun time with all the guests. Had an absolute blast. Thank you for everyone for joining me. So let's get after it. All right, so SPY, right? Pretty nice day on the SPY, all things considered, right? We did a couple plays here. We'll talk about that in a second, right? But looking like a fairly bullish candle. So if we look at the candle like cheat sheet, right, that we work with, right? We can tell that's the second most bullish candle type. So pretty good close, pretty nice volume. Like to see that get a little bit higher, but made a higher high, higher low. So relatively bullish close and finish there from the SPY. Right, similar story in QQQ. Candle might be red, but we made higher high, higher low. Certainly a bullish, bearish candle, right? You can almost look at this as that low vol pullback. If you get that break above that 362.80, this thing could start to really run again. So we'll keep an eye on this going forward, but relatively strong day from the Q as well. Right? Apple closed at all-time highs, essentially. So wedge breakout continues to show relative strength. Like to see this to keep going further up. We can keep playing this. Now at all-time highs, you got no reason to sell. Right? Tesla, another weak day. Couldn't quite get that follow through, but we were talking about that 640 area yesterday and got close to that, right? So if we can continue with some weakness, maybe we can get down and invalidate this pattern. But Tesla might be ready for a little bit of a breather now. Right? Microsoft, okay day. I mean, you want to see higher conviction here a little bit. But you can still look at this as a hammer with relatively strong volume. So definitely more bullish than bearish. Path of least resistance continues to be to the upside here. So a lot of potential for Microsoft going forward. So like I mentioned earlier, had 6 for 7 today, right? Absolutely monster day. I was able to get a lot of action in the morning session. Absolutely nothing in the afternoon, but very, very busy morning. So let's start with SPY here. SPY was the first, well, not first trade we'll go through, right? But basically played this hammer breakout. So had a pretty indecisive to bearish open, right? That broke down on okay volume. And then we printed a very aggressive hammer candle. And when I say aggressive, I say that because it's the strongest volume of the day, right? And it closes as green. Huge wick. So we're getting strongest volume of the day, green hammer, right? That's giving me a lot of conviction that sellers have retaken control. So I looked for the July 9th, 434 calls, right, on this hammer breakout. Got in at $1. Target was high a day. Got to about sort of this 433.85 area and closed my position. I didn't like the price action at the time. Protecting a 20% stop, right? Using a trailing stop to protect a 20% win. And so happy to close out there, right? I'll stack up 20% wins all day long in 10 minutes. So very happy with that trade. Fantastic results. And those were the 434 calls, right? From $1 to $1.21, right? Entry was a break of hammer, right? Break of the hammer high. And my stop loss was on the 5-minute time frame, right? On the low of the entry candle. So I was able to cut out a few extra little pennies, right? And didn't ever even get close to my stop after my entry. So fantastic trade, exactly what you want to do, right? Good example of multi-time frame analysis, and really, really tidy win. Could have held this a little bit longer, got up to like 80% at one point, so definitely left a few dollars on the table. But just got shaken out. I mean, I think at the moment, default thinking is that we're still not getting much follow through, so I'm pretty aggressive to protect my wins. Might have to start adjusting that a little bit going forward, but happy with that. Okay, next play. QQQ 30 min setup here, right, on what we call the Bollinger Band reversion. So I'll move all the drawings here quickly, right? So Bollinger Band, we had a couple possible plays here. We had this first one where we opened well outside, closed well outside, right? But I didn't like this first 30-min candle too much from the Q, right? This wick, if we go candle arrows, right, arrows pointing up. So telling me a little bit that buyers are in support, and we might have a little bit of a potential breakout. So I wasn't super interested in playing a break of that first low. But that second 30-min candle of the day continued to go really strong volume, right? If we look long term, opening 30-min, highest volume candle of the day. Second 30-min candle, just about the highest volume candle of the previous day. So a lot of bearish strength there, right? And then that matches up with what the candlestick is telling us. So we're getting a full body bearish candle. So when we go to our bearish cheat sheet, right, it looks like this most bearish, right? Full body, baby little wick. Don't see anything there, right? So we have a lot of confidence that we have a room to go. So entry would have been is a break of this, say, green line, right? Targeting midline, then bottom line. Stop loss is high of your entry candle. So we played this BB reversion, right? From $2 to $2.80, which was this midline, right? And then closed out a partial at $2.40. So protected a 20% win on half my position, right? And closed out for 40% on the other half of my position. So another really, really tidy win. Again, right? Same concept as with that SPY trade. You know, I like protecting with trailing stops, right? Sometimes you miss out on some stuff, you get stopped out a little bit early, but other times it protects you from taking, you know, from giving away a lot of money. So I'm always happy to be more risk averse than aggressive. And so for me, this made a lot of sense to play this, you know, breakdown. So we can get, but once it didn't happen, right? It just didn't happen. But still, nice 30% win all in. Can't have any complaints there. Next trade of the day was Tesla. So Tesla, we played some 640 puts, right, on this bear flag breakdown. Right, we were targeting sort of this 640 area. So when this thing broke down under here, right, we had that all that room down towards that 643, 640 area. I ended up closing out my position on this hammer reversal. Right, enough of a warning sign to get out. And played the 640 puts at 720 all the way down to 1025. So another really tidy win, right? 40% win. Happy days, walk away, no problems, right? Stop loss was right on the low of the entry candle, right? Setup was this bear flag breakdown. Or if you want to look at it as continuing weakness, right, from that breakdown the other day. So that's trade number 3. Trade number 4, Penn. This was probably the most stressful trade of the day, right? So got a lot of little pieces of information here. So I'll just talk us through, right? Setup was this bear flag breakdown that we identified on the daily. So hard to see with this, but there's that bear flag, right? So identified that bear flag. Okay, so once that low gets taken out, which is that $73 area, we're looking for entries, right? Could have a stop loss there at the top of that entry candle, right? And that's what we did. So caught a really nice move down, and you know would have been up a monster amount, but unfortunately with this Penn, the spreads were ridiculous on these 73 puts. So at one point the spreads were like 20 cents, 25 cents. So I was in at 138.2, out at 179, and it could have been a lot more, but like I said, the spreads were so bad, so I didn't want to hold it for that much, because if it did start going against me, right, this thing was going to start to be really painful really fast, and the spreads just were not catching up as this thing was going down. So locked in, a tidy win, 0 complaints, but could have been a lot bigger if the spreads were a little bit better. I think I could have chosen a better strike price here. You know, this move developed pretty quickly, and I just looked at the first one that had kind of that right delta I was looking for, and maybe neglected a little bit the volume. So that's something to adjust from going forward, but still relatively happy with that trade, right? My bias was to cut this one short, right, if those spreads were misbehaving so much. So was just looking for a quick win and was able to catch a nice play again, right, getting out on this hammer reversal. So coming up here is trade that I'm gonna probably lose some sleep over today. So wanted to play Shop. Shop was my top trade idea of the day. It was exactly what I was looking for, and it's kind of coming together to be a nice setup. So we had that wedge breakout, right? And we're looking to play that continuation today. So idea was that if we held this gap up, right, in the morning, then we'd get continued strength. Well, I got a little bit too excited wanting to trade this. Had a nice win in this yesterday. Got maybe just a little bit too excited. And I ignored this candle. So this opening 5-minute candle, right, is not the most bullish of candles at all, right? So if we compare the top wick versus the bottom wick, right, top wick is significantly larger than the bottom wick. Even though the body of this candle is relatively strong, right, this heavy top wick starts to tell me that, you know, this is a lot of sellers pushing this down. So definitely a compromise there, right? That's not as strong of a candle. If this was a full body bullish candle, right, something like this first green candle, or this second most green candle, that's way better. But I compromised on my process there. So I took an entry on the break of this high, right, and was targeting a move towards that 1600 area, right? And so it just didn't happen for me. Broke down, right? Had the warning sign here, but I was a little bit stubborn, kind of in love with the setup more than listening to what the charts were telling me, and took a max loss on this. So I played the 1600 calls in at 25, out at 19 on larger size than I'd like to admit, and that one was pretty painful. So had to recover from that. Ended up doing that, but it went from being like a really, really green day to a day I'm happy with, but it just should have been so much better, and I'm pretty disappointed with the process on that shop trade. All right, so PayPal, right? Last trade, day trade. We still got a swing to go over. So PayPal, we were looking for this bull flag breakout, right? So had this bull flag we were talking about on the weekly watch list, and we're looking for that break above this area, right? That 290, 296 area, we'll call it flat. So that happened for us right on the opening bell. So I took a entry right here at that 296.09, stop loss 296.64, playing the 300 calls, right? So hard to see here, right? Playing the 300 calls. So that's about where my mouse is pointing at the moment, right? So entry was this 296.10, 296.10, right, with the 300 calls. So I was in at 220, right? Spreads on these weren't fantastic either, but was anticipating a decent sized move, so it wasn't that big of a deal. So anyway, moving this up, our target was that $300 range. See if we can get a breakout above 300. Well, we failed pretty aggressively at 300, right? Instantly sold off when it got there and just could not give us that follow through. You can see more dramatically here on the 5-min, right? Got there, basically touched, and then just died right away. So we got our entry right around halfway up this first 5-min candle, right? Sat in it, rejected here at that 300, and then sold off right away. So we got in at 220, out at 251 on the 300 call. Still locked in a nice win, but that first early rejection so violently, so quickly, right, tells you that you're just not going to get that follow through today. So closed it out for a small win. Could have been a little bit better, but the spreads were big. But still, green is green, so no complaints. Finally, last trade of the day is Ford, right? Talking about these swings from yesterday. We played that continuation. So was a wedge break, right? Looking for an entry under this 1440 continuation. And we swung this overnight with the monthly $14 puts, right? Expiration 1 month from now. And just played this really nice. So our entry was 18 cents. Got really close to that $13.95 target we were talking about. And then again, printed a hammer. So got out on that green hammer print at 31 cents. So really, really tidy scalp overnight. And happy to clean up there. So played a really good continuation on a slower mover and still caught a monster win. Anyway, that's all the trades for today. Really busy day, really exciting day. Should have been a little bit better, made a few mistakes, but all in all, guys, fun time. Hope you guys can join me again on the free DTR Wednesday. Do free live streams every single Wednesday. Otherwise, guys, see you guys tomorrow on the pre-market video and the post-market recap. And happy hunting.